You read that it fell. Ignore my glitter packaging, I come packing crafting.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here on SewStitchHex. I'm Academia, and today I'm going to be talking about the problems with signs and synchronicities. Now, believing in signs and synchronicities is not a problem in and of itself. Everyone should believe in something, and there's no problem with finding symbolism in the things we see in everyday life. The problem comes when we get overdependent or put misinterpretations into what we see. So if you're interested, a sign is a gesture or action used to convey info or instructions, and basically it indicates the probable presence of something else or some deeper significance. Typically, a sign is significant to the individual that recognizes it. It's not something that's for everyone, but they can be, such as angel numbers. Maybe you see a recurrence of a certain animal or insect, or like letters, maybe the beginning of someone's name, or names that remind you of someone. All of these things are things that you can see that can be considered signs. Synchronicities are what happen when you have multiple signs that focus your attention on a specific path or outcome. Carl Jung coined synchronicities on the idea of events appearing meaningfully related despite having no actual connection to each other. So basically, it's not explained by any conventional mechanisms of causality. It's just happening conveniently all at the same time, and you connect them in some way. So the first issue with signs of synchronicities is knowing what they are. So studying to understand, the angel numbers, be it 222 times 1111, or if you continually see maybe symbols of death or other symbols. A great example would be Signs, Symbols, and Omens by Raymond Buckland, or other really good books on the topic to help you understand like signs and what they could be synchronized to. So another problem I see with signs and synchronicities is people not really questioning if the sign is for them. There are a lot of people who would be messengers and not the receiver of the message. They are just supposed to be the vehicle which conveys the message to its intentional target. I've seen this in instances where I repeatedly saw information about a certain deity or faith path, and I studied it because I love to study everything. But in some way, I feel as if I was called to that path, not for myself, but because surprisingly down the road, someone comes up to me interested in this topic. And now with my beginner level knowledge, I'm able to point them in the path that they need to go to learn more. And that's able to help someone else. So while these signs synchronized so that I got them, they weren't for me, they were for me to help someone else. Which is one way you can have this happen. Or you could just be seeing these signs repeatedly and be around another person who is meant to receive these signs, but you being keen to a higher sense of awareness with your spiritual path might recognize and pick up on these signs. But if you are too involved in what these signs mean, you could take it to mean that it's for you when it's not. So being able to determine if it's for you is extremely important, which leads to the next issue of misinterpreting the signs or assigning meaning that isn't there. You have some people who will be like, oh, they messaged me at 11:11. It must be meant to be. Like, bitch, there's only 24 hours in the day. Maybe they just happen to message you at 11:11. That happens. Plus, 11:11 is like super cute. So if I see it's 11:11, it makes me think significant. So I significantly think of people that mean a lot to me. And then at that time, I would end up messaging people. Or I think this is a time that is recognizable. And when I think of something that's recognizable, it just gets me on a different mindset, which gets me into other ideas. And you can put more meaning. Basically, you'd be assigning more meaning to something that's just a coincidence. I know everyone states that there are no coincidences. However, I am a disbeliever of this, as it is. So, when you're misinterpreting the signs, sometimes you'll come across not quite false hope, but like a false sign. I don't know the correct terminology for it, but it's when you really, really, really hope to manifest a certain outcome or ending, and instead you manifest these false signs that give you a hope for something that shouldn't really be happening. Like, say you really want a sign that everything is going to be okay, when inevitably it will be, but not in the way that you are assuming. And you see all these signs telling you that it's okay when there are serious problems ahead, and you're not actually getting the signs of the imminent danger or betrayal that could be happening. Which leads me to a later topic, but I'm not going to jump into that one quite yet. So put a pin in that and keep it for later. When misinterpreting, you could see something and be so excited for it, but think of it like Freud. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Say you see swans and you think, oh, these swans, these beautiful swans, this may be a sign for my love, that it's true and it's grand. Or you see, oh, there's so many rabbits, it's new beginnings and great times. But like, do you know the animals that are natural to your area? Because I mean, we have peacocks nearby. Or we had peacocks. I think they passed away because of the coyotes, but we had peacocks. You could see the peacock and put more meaning into it, maybe bring Hera into this or something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that was the intended image. Maybe it's just that peacocks live nearby. There's a lot of deer near my home. There's a lot of rabbits. I can come home, if I come home at the exact precise time that I would normally, I will see rabbits 100% of the time. That's not always a sign of new beginnings or abundance. Sometimes it's just there are rabbits in the area. Maybe you see 222 while you're driving down the highway, but you take the same highway every day and that billboard has been there for years. You just happen to notice it today, but it is not new information. You are seeking out a sign when there really isn't one. And so that becomes the issue with overdependence on signs and synchronicities. For overeager beavers, I like to suggest being ready for answers, but being specific. So writing a letter addressed to the universe and asking to have a specific instance of the occurrence manifested by this image or symbol, an answer to my question with this as the sign, and I wanted to see it X number of times in this quantity of time. And if I saw that, then I'd be like, okay, well, yeah, that's definitely a sign. It's not so much as a denial of the synchronicities as an anticipation for me to manifest promises of what I want that isn't really there. And of course, you would trust your instinct or your gut when interpreting these signs, but you need to be aware that you can be manifesting this like false signs in your everyday. An example of manifesting false signs is after having learned about, I guess it was a popular theme on the internet, and it probably still is. I see it still, but not as much, about twin flames. And I actually thought I might have encountered a twin flame. Then I got all these confirmations that this was so. But in my interest, I believe there was a conflict of interest, and I might have been manifesting these signs of a twin flame where there should not have been. But because I was so overeager, I put semblance on things that should not have been important. On this same idea of manifesting your own kind of false signs, you have to think about the idea that not all people who are spiritual or into spiritual topics are good people. There are a lot of toxic people in every group. It doesn't matter where you're at, there's always someone who's toxic as fuck. People who are manipulative or who have something to gain for themselves are also in the spiritual community. And if they want something, whether it's for you to believe something or for something to happen to them, they can manifest it just as much as you. So these false signs can be fed into their vision and be kind of redirected to you, and it feeds this manipulation of what you think, because you see all these signs, but really it's just them manifesting proof that what they want is what's happening. And you might misinterpret it. So it's this idea of having a sign that isn't even directed from the universe for you, but made as a manifestation of a bad person's plot, essentially. Let me just dumb it down. Think of it on this way. You are at an intersection. Going one way, somebody wants that green light, because who wants to sit at a red light for no reason? Going the other way is you. You also want a green light. Not only is there a combination of two different people trying to manifest a green light with such strong intent, but also think about it has its own thing going on. These are set on a timer with a sensor kind of a thing. So it's not always about your manifestation, but also about this overarching, like, universal, like, preset thing that's going to happen. So while you have to worry about them trying to manifest this green light, which is counterintuitive, giving you a red light, you also have to think the light will turn green. Was it because of you, or was it because of the sensor? Really? You would be the one to interpret that. But are you putting more power into your strengths, or is it just the sensor? Ask yourself these questions when you encounter signs that are really convenient for what you wish to manifest. So, the prowess of the manipulators to produce false signs is one thing. But divine intervention can also produce signs which contradict what they want or what you're inclined to believe. So maybe the divine has your best interests at heart, or maybe the divine is trying to discourage whatever they're doing. That doesn't mean that it won't still clash. I'm not saying that someone else is stronger than the divine. I'm just saying that there's multiple ways that signs can appeal. And if you're not looking for all the possibilities, you might ignore clear signs that there is a problem. These red flags that are telling you, hey, your spirit animal is not a bull. Please, look at me. And helping you ignore the red flags. But you have this whole idea of you want to manifest a certain reality. Someone else wants to manifest a certain reality for themselves. And if you're not paying attention to the signs the divine is coming into, because they are not necessarily directly interacting with you, you might ignore them. Or you might put higher priority over another symbol that you have encountered in your day-to-day functions. So what I want to say is to take it from what it's worth. Remember that a cigar is just a cigar. It's not always some phallic symbol that's trying to get your attention. This goes with anything in life, but the signs of synchronicities, especially because they become so overwhelmingly, they take over your brain. At one point, when you're learning about angel numbers and you're learning about the symbolism of certain animals, you are looking for it because now you know. Just like how newer students in the medical field have to learn all of these very rare diseases because those aren't the ones you're going to see every day. So to be able to see it and recognize it is a harder task because you're not going to see it every day. But now that you're thinking about it, every cold and whatever looks like a rare disease because you see, oh, well, this symptom is this and this symptom is this, and you're placing more significance on it than it is when it's really just something as simple as a cold. Sometimes it really is just a cigar. Another way to think about this same concept in like a mundane sense is like targeted ads. You've talked about, oh, I want to buy boots from Why Are You? Shoes or whatever. And now you're getting all these targeted ads. And to you, you think, oh, well, I keep seeing this. Now I want it even more. But on another level, part of you is like, oh, well, I thought about it. And now I'm getting this opportunity. So clearly I must. But really, it's just there's like some AI tracking you can hear you. It knows your search. It knows your interests. It's trying to manifest for its own gain. It's the same idea with signs and synchronicities. Maybe you are being led on a path, but it's not necessarily the path you should take. It's just the path that is available, and it becomes very convenient because subconsciously you're seeking validation and seeking a reason to have seen all of these things, assigning unnecessary weight to these occurrences that keep happening. And because you've assigned so much more significance to the things that you're seeing, you feel like this is a manifestation of what you should do. This is a sign to do that thing, when in reality, it's just the universe's version of a targeted ad. You wanted to manifest this, and now you see, oh, well, see, I'm on the right path because I see it's 11:11. I see that this symbol is present in my everyday life. But in reality, that's just the billboard you pass every day. You didn't notice until now because now you're looking for it. That's just an animal that happens to be native to the very particular region that you live in, and you just didn't pay attention to nature as much as you thought you did until now you're assigning more meaning to these animals instead of just taking it for what it is, which is that it exists too. It has, shit to do. It's got to go to the deer grocery store. It's got to go do deer things. Go to push papers at the deer job. I don't know. I assume deer just have fun in the woods. But essentially, because you are now aware of the meaning, you are assigning meaning where it doesn't need to be. And this is a big issue that I have. The main issue I want to talk about, the problem with signs and synchronicities, is knowing and then over-assigning so much significance to something that doesn't need it. If this has happened to you, or you know someone like this, because I know plenty of people like this, please let me know in the comments below. What is an incident that you encountered or witnessed that just kind of brought this to light? Or are you thinking you might be guilty of this right now? Please feel free to let me know in the comments below. I would love to know what you think. I've had this same issue when it came to twin flames, and I was seeing 222s. I was getting messages at 11:11, and I was also that person. I was like, oh, it's meant to be. Oh. Like seeing two bunnies, because bunnies are a rabbit is my spirit animal, or one of my spirit animals, and it is the one I care about a lot. I love bunnies. And I completely respect their attention to detail and their skittishness. That is me, afraid of everything. Always anxious, but also cute. I'm a bunny. Thanks. But I assigned more meaning to it than I should have. Of course I'm going to see these now that I know more significance to it, but also I already like rabbits. So if I see rabbits, I assign more meaning to it. Once you start to learn it, you start to see it more. Don't assign meaning when there is none. And that is just kind of a warning and my take on the problems of signs and synchronicities. All right, I hope you have a wicked evening, and I hope to see you here next time on SewStitchHex. Bye!